Just that time.
Fab. Right. Okay. So I think we are live now. Oh, it's just setting up our meeting for Facebook Live, apparently. Oh, there we go. Okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Charlotte from Healthwatch Bury, and today our session is going to be around menopause awareness. So let's get ready for this very interesting session, shall we? So a few guidelines just to start with. So number one, we want to be accepting. Everyone is welcome, regardless of race, ethnicity, national origin, religious affiliation, sexual orientation, sex, gender identity, or ability. We want to respect boundaries. Don't make advances or comments on appearance that might make someone feel uncomfortable. And we don't want to be rude. We don't want to intentionally provoke, threaten, or insult anybody. We don't want to flood the chat, so if we do have questions, happy for you to put them in, but please don't repeat that comment because it puts other people's to the bottom. And we're not here for a sales pitch, so please don't self-promote. We want to stay focused on the topic of the stream, which is menopause awareness today. We want to keep it clean, so no shocking, obscene, or vulgar inflammatory language, nothing like that, please. So today, okay, that's not been changed, I'm very sorry, so I'm just going to quickly wish past that. Sorry, lovely. So Healthwatch is your health and social care champion. We make sure NHS leaders and other decision makers hear your voice and use your feedback to improve care. We listen to your experience of using health and social care services and share them with those with the power to make change happen. And we can also provide you with information and advice. So we can support you by signposting you to local or online support groups. We can give you information or advice about your family members' healthcare, and we can listen to your experiences of using health and social care. So these are our contact details. I'm going to pass over to our lovely menopause mum who's here today. So I will just turn my screen off, my video off. Over to you.
Hi. Hi, Steph. You okay?
Hi, Jane. Lovely to meet you today.
You too. I know you've been emailing me a lot, haven't you?
Yeah.
So my story, I'll just briefly kind of tell my story. So I think I was a late comer to the menopause, or thinking that I was obviously not realizing I was in the menopause. And I'm 54 this next month, so I was regularly still having periods every month and not thinking anything of it. And then in about 20, when we were in COVID, in lockdown, I spoke to my sister who's 2 years younger than me. She says, you must be in your menopause, Jen, you must be going through it. So in the end, I thought, right, I'll watch Davina. I watched Davina. I thought, yeah, that's me. And everything that she was saying, because it's like, you think you've got dementia, you think you've either got thyroid, or you think you've got fibromyalgia because you're aching all the time. And I thought, yeah, that's definitely me. So went to my GP, told him what, I wanted. And to be fair, Ribblesdale Medical Centre have been really, really good as, as my GP. So, I can't fault them at all. Anyway, got on HRT, and then within Sixtown, I set up a support group on Teams, because obviously we were still all working from home. And it's, that kind of like grew, and more of the women were like getting involved and stuff. And from there, I started linking in and following the menopause coach called Adele Johnson. And she's my mentor. So I started following her, and very fortunate for me, work ended up saying that I could go on a course. So now I'm a trained menopause support coach, and I've got a CPD accredited certificate. So I've done my training, and then every month we have additional training with Adele, and we've got a group of girls that we all train together with. And if we're all unsure about things, we can all, we all message each other and we contact each other. So it is really good. But my main focus wasn't about to do coaching as an income. It wasn't about that. I wanted to spread the word to our tenants, because I work for Sixtown. I wanted to spread the word for tenants, and and some of the deprived communities that we link into. So that was how all this came about, really. So but for so many women, this journey in their lives it can be traumatic. Well, it is traumatic. So it's it's a massive change. So Steph, are you okay?
Yeah, that's fine, Jane.
Yeah. So it's
I think if we just, sorry, I don't know if there's confusion. I think if we just go through all the information, Steph has like loads of questions ready for you at the end, Jane. She has like questions ready, Blessed, she's good for it. Sorry, I'll remute myself. Oh, I think you're right though. A lot of people do feel they're going a little bit crazy when that menopause hits, and it's with the grand scope of the ages for me. So you just don't expect it at certain ages, but I'm sure you'll get into that anyway. I'll shut up.
So yeah, for so many women, this journey in their lives can be traumatic, leading to potentially life-changing events. So changes in your menstrual cycle show over time, hot flushes. That is normally the first indicator that you feel, that change is starting. Them hot flushes and night sweats and palpitations and your heart racing, which is an absolute. Sometimes you think like your heart's going to jump out and sometimes like just knock you out. Poor sleep or no sleep in some cases, fatigue and no motivation, so which can leave you feeling inadequate and you can't function at all. I can remember when we were working up in one of the offices out on one of the estates, and I'd literally just fall asleep because that's how tired I was. And but again, I didn't know that I was going through this. I honestly thought it was. I kept looking up Google. Google's a wonderful thing, isn't it? You go on Google and you look at what symptoms are, and fatigue and tiredness and aching joints, and I just thought I had fibromyalgia. So and then brain fog. It's like like even today I've panicked because I'm thinking, oh, am I going to remember everything? So I've got loads of stuff around me written, and but it is them symptoms on there are just a microscopic kind of capture of what women actually go through. I mean, I started with vertigo when I was 38. Whether it was linked and I was starting early, I really don't know. But and your gums as well. Like when you're brushing your teeth and your gums start bleeding. It's that kind of thing. It's about looking and taking care of yourself and just picking up on these little things like your skin irritating and being itchy and that bloatedness feeling and feeling low and anxious. And it's women, your confidence goes. It's just a minefield of symptoms, really. But it's also obviously when them hormones dip, this is how we end up, it comes out in us in different ways, and every woman obviously is all different, but most of the women that I speak to will have all had them symptoms moving forward. Next slide. So the statistics, get my teeth right. So approximately by the end of this year, there'll be 14 million women in the UK who are going through the perimenopause or menopause at this moment in time. 1 in 100 are 40 years and upwards. 1 in 1,000 are between 30 and 40 years of age, and 1 in 10,000 are below 30 years of age. So it does hit some women, even in the teenage years. So you'll start your puberty, you'll start menopause, start your periods, and then before you're 20, in some cases, very, very rarely, you're at perimenopausal stage. So it's, it can be quite frightening for them. You've got to be healthy and active, do regular exercise, try and aim for 10,000 steps per day initially and build on that. Your cardio exercise 2 to 3 times a week, build and strengthen your core, because as you get older, your muscle mass, it weakens. So, as you get older, and I can remember with my nan, she had like that, the tissue under here, and it always goes, and you always think that you've got bat wings, but it's so it's trying to keep your body going, and exercise is the key thing. Pilates or yoga is always a good form of low impacting core building, and breathing, incorporating your breathing into your exercises as well. And it's also you about your optimum nutrition. So make sure that you eat healthily and have a healthy relationship with food. And the best diet that we can actually look at is the Mediterranean diet, because it's got so many different variations. There's different colours in there, and there's the fish, there's the meat, there's the protein, there's everything. So eat also seasonally as well. So make sure, like certain vegetables are more in certain times of the year. So it's just about linking in with that, and have a love and approach. So like the Italian, so I'm obviously married to an Italian. So the Italians love that, family. Food has always been the center of, any family in an Italian culture. So again, it's about enjoying what you eat, keeping moving. No food is demonized or cut out, no macro split. So it's like obviously about your macros, and you're making sure that they're combined when you're putting certain foods together, and try not to add too much supplements in with your food. But obviously no smoking's the no-go. But you do need certain supplements, because some of the foods don't have, like vitamin D. Vitamin D is one supplement that we do need to take, because unfortunately our weather doesn't fit in with our, we don't get enough sun, do we? So you have to make sure that certain vitamins, we do need. Next slide, thank you. So here's some of the main vegetables and fruits and seeds that we should be looking at to incorporate into our daily, or we can't eat them every day, but within our weekly regime. I work very closely with Shelley Caulfield from the Live Well team, and we're looking at doing our joined up approach. So Shelley will do more of the nutritional side, because that's her specialism. So but looking at these, your normal vegetables, your grains, your seeds and your nuts, make sure you get as many of these into your diet. The soya foods are the best as well, because within soya it does have that added effect for your estrogen as well, so it can give you a bit more of an oomph. So there are some women especially that can't have HRT, so eating these certain particular fruits and vegetables gives them that extra energy that they need, because they can't get it from other supplements or HRT. So it is worth thinking about. Next slide, please. So it's important that we have a healthy mind, so regular deep breathing and breathing exercises. So for myself, when I have a shower in the morning, I put it to cold and freak out, but I also like to deep breath in through my nose and then slow release out through my mouth. And I do that about 10 times. And even though the shock of the cold water initially, it kind of, that slow breathing kind of brings my body and calms me down. And it's just getting used to yourself, like being able to take them breaths each day. And it's also about being mindful as well. So try and put some mindfulness into your day, like being mindful about what you eat. So, thinking about what you eat and try not to be distracted. And it's also about taking time for yourself as well. And I know us women, we never take time for ourselves. It's very important that we make time, because we're always too busy rushing around, looking after everybody else and putting everybody first. And I must admit, I'm really good at giving all the advice and supporting people and you know, and counselling people when I can in certain ways and empowering them. But for myself, this is probably the one thing that I'm really bad at, taking time for myself. So I'm very good at giving advice, but not taking it. So, and journaling, I do have a little book. So when I can, I write in my little book about my gratitudes. So it's about being grateful for what we, you know, what we have, grateful for having a loving family. So it's about just having time out and writing things down sometimes. And I know we all say that we haven't got time, but you've got to make time. It's about making time. So going into, so this is obviously just a snapshot of, you know, of what I've put together really. So an overview of HRT. So we've got body identical. So this is what our HRT is. So it's deemed safer to use. It's tested research. It's strict on development regulations. It's NHS available and prescription, and it's derived from yam plants. So it's not obtrusive in any way. The bioidentical are unknown levels of safety. None of these are tested, or we've got clear guidelines. It's not available on the NHS, and these are like private clinics that tend to advertise. And I know sometimes you might have seen in the past where Boots have advertised certain particular items. Again, these are bioidentical, so they're not clinically tested. So we don't know what the results are. So I would always, you know, push on the side of caution. Always go to your doctor and get that advice. If they, as we know, you know, don't know themselves sometimes, it's worth you know, emailing a specialist, because there's a lot of specialists out there, and they will give that advice. You know, they're not frightened to advise, and you know, you don't have to pay if you just want some advice. So then we've got the prescribed HRT. So we've got estrogen, which is normally in either patches, a spray, a vaginal pessary, or a gel. And I started off on a patch, and I had to up my levels of estrogen because I wasn't getting enough through the patches. So now I'm on a gel. I've reduced my patches. I'm on a gel, and I have my progesterone tablets every night, which are orally. So I take them consistently, which helps with so the progesterone helps with your sleep, eases your sleep, so at least you get a restful night's sleep. But also the progesterone is there to line the your womb as well, because if you have too much estrogen in your body and you don't put your progesterone in, it can cause cysts. So you've got to, so it's just protecting your body as well. So when a woman has a full hysterectomy, she doesn't need progesterone. She'll just have the estrogen. And obviously testosterone is another hormone that is extremely hard to get on prescription. Unfortunately, you can't get it on prescription. So more often than not, you have to go privately to get this initially. And it's not cheap, but this is what, obviously we're trying to go to the Parliament at the moment to push for you know, women to be able to get their hormones for not free, but on non-prescription. So when we are in our teenage years, we produce more testosterone than estrogen, even though they always say that it's a male hormone. It isn't. It's a female hormone as well. So I have testosterone. Again, I didn't want to go private. I had to go private, but it's, you know, and you always think, oh, you're going to have a gruff voice, or you're going to have a beard, because, you know, you do think that you're going to produce more hair, but it doesn't work like that, because it's such a minute, you just put a pea size on every day, and it enables you to feel a bit more alive. It helps with your sex drive, your libido, but it also helps with your brain and your brain function and your and your bones as well. So it is, you know, we do need it. So, you know, when they say that we don't need to take testosterone, we definitely do. Next slide, please. So this is a mantra that I kind of put together a little bit off reading Davina's book as well. So it's let's do this together. Get informed. You owe to yourself to get this right information. Speak up. It is time to speak up, as you no longer need to suffer in silence. Be an ally. Be open and honest. Don't be afraid to reach out and share your experiences. Be a friend, an ally. Talk to your family about how you feel. These are all the stories that we need to share. This is a quote from the Davina book, Menopause. Ladies, we need to go out there and live our best lives so that the next generations don't fear menopause like we did or still do. We need to show them that far from drying up and disappearing, we blossom and flourish. And if that's not right now, above all, remember, I love you. It's going to be okay. I see you and I've got your back. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jane. That was really informative, and I hope that, you know, many of the women and possibly men as well can take a lot from that presentation. Thank you very much for taking the time to put that presentation together. I've just got a few questions, if that's okay, which I hope we can like broaden the conversation about. So, you mentioned about perimenopause. That's when women go through the menopause at a younger age, and we know that, you know, some women go through it earlier than others, some women go through it later than others, and some people, you know, if you've got a female family member who's gone through it at an early age, then maybe it could be hereditary where you go through it early. But what is the age where they say you typically go through menopause?
The average UK average is between 40 and 51. And but like you say, yeah, it does vary. So in some cases, it's like, you know, well, for that age group, it's 1 in 100, and for and the younger stats are normally like 1 in 10,000. So yeah, that is the average age group, but it can last obviously up until you're over in your 55, and in some cases, women that are over that age still suffer. You know, they've gone through the post menopausal and they're still suffering, but you know, so it's horrible, really, that what we have to go through, isn't it? And you feel as though you've got to jump through hoops.
Yeah, and I just feel with you saying it's horrible what we have to go through, Jane. I mean, you know, Meg, I just feel that we're so lucky, you know, because we don't have to go through childbirth, we don't have to go through periods, and we don't have to go through the menopause. So I think as women, we've definitely got the rougher deal. And men don't know how lucky they are.
I know. Well, I've decided when I come back in my next life, I'm coming back as the dog.
So we've already talked about the lifestyle changes, so I won't go through that again. So you mentioned HRT in the presentation, hormone replacement treatment. So when you were diagnosed with going through the menopause, did your doctor, you know, talk you through the risks and benefits of the HRT?
I think doctors are still kind of skeptical about prescribing HRT. There's still that fear amongst certain clinicians and even women to a certain extent. They're frightened of kind of, because they're still in the back of the head, think there's that cancer scare, you know, that fear of the unknown. But actually, it's probably you're safer on going on HRT than what, you know, you really expect. And to get away from, you know, like the obviously the symptoms outweigh, you know, that fear factor really for me. So yeah, it wasn't, when I actually sat down and looked at it, I thought, no, I need something, because the way I feel, I'm gonna, you know, you feel like you want to not kill somebody, but you just don't know where your head's at, and it's a horrible feeling. So
Yeah,
don't be
it is.
frightened of,
Yeah. So obviously we know, Jane, that you run a menopause support group in the Bury area, because Healthwatch Bury have shared that information with our followers and audience. But is there any other groups around the, you know, the Bury area that can offer, you know, support to women going through the menopause?
Well, what we're looking at is we're hoping to get actually a menopause specialist to attend. We're looking at the Mosses Centre on the 22nd of June, to link in obviously some around like the Asian community, because a lot of the women there, they don't kind of obviously openly discuss things. So we're trying to get them to incorporate, you know, work with us, but also incorporate the wider demographics of Bury as well. So we're looking at Dr. Zoe Hodgson, hopefully. I'm just crossing my fingers that it all pans out, because you never know what's around the corner, do you? But so Dr. Zoe Hodgson is a menopause specialist. I'm under her. Yeah, she's really, really good. She's, you know, she's very, I met her over at Moss Side, and she was doing a drop-in session there. So she's open to linking in with, like, you know, the these communities out in the wider area. And because she works out of Wythenshawe, so she's so, you know, it's part of Manchester, isn't it? So she's local, so she's happy to come along. So I'm just hoping that the Asian women's group, you know, can facilitate that on the 22nd of June. So we're looking, hopefully, that on the 22nd of June, 11 till 12, possible. Well, that's what we're aiming for. And Shelley Caulfield from the Live Well team and myself will be going along as well. So so we've got that pending. And no, I think Shelley's looking at also linking in with the GP practices down in Prestwich, because they're quite a good group as well. So they're looking at, again, starting that off in June. We had another session last night in Brandlesome, but it's trying to get the timing right, the time of day. Obviously last night it was 6 till 7, so I would have thought that, you know, women that were working would come. So it's I just want to get that word out there, that, you know, don't be ashamed, or don't be, you know, it's not a taboo subject. You know, you need to talk about it. And a lot. Go on, sorry, Steph.
So what I can say, Jane, is you're doing a fantastic job, you know, talking about it. It really helps to go, you know, when you talk about your personal experiences as well, and I'm sure we as Healthwatch will be able to get the message out far and wide to our followers on our Facebook page and everything. So I can really congratulate you for the work you're doing.
Thanks, Steph. Thank you so much.
And obviously we've talked briefly about resources and where people can find information more about menopause. The Gavina book is a good resource for reading. But
Yeah,
if you like websites or reliable forums where people go.
Social media is probably the best form. So I've got an Instagram account. So I'm called the Menopause Mum on mine, but I follow so many different menopause gurus. I've got this is a really good book. I'd said this one's my Bible. So this one is by The Complete Guide to the Menopause, and this is by Dr. Anise Mukherjee. She's another Manchester GP specialist. Well, she's not a GP, she's a hormone specialist, and she's gone through cancer herself. So obviously she can't take HRT, but I mean, she writes about HRT and stuff in here, but this, like I said, this is one of the best books, and you can see where I've put all my post-it notes, all my little notes and stuff, but I've got so many books. But honestly, Instagram, Facebook, there are so many different communities out there, and it's just about, once you link in, and you know, and if anybody wants to, like, you know, contact me or whatever, just contact me direct on Instagram, and I'm happy to talk with them or whatever. And there's also, what I would say is, another one is the Balance app. So the Balance app is a free app that you can download onto your phone, and again, it's for, like I say, it's free. You can upgrade it, but the free app is excellent. And it's again, it's got all your symptoms tracker. You can do a daily journal. You can put all your symptoms on there. There's all stuff about HRT. There's stuff about the you know, the supplements. It's absolutely got everything on there, and the update, and there's like different diets, and you know, you can have a conversation with other women on there as well. So that is a really, you know, good thing to have. And I, like I say, I've got it on my phone, and I do mine daily. And you can print it off, you can download it, print it off, and take it to your doctor as well, which is really good.
That's really interesting to know that. And one final point of discussion which I thought would be good to discuss is the fact that there's been a lot in the media recently about how badly women are suffering with menopausal symptoms, and especially within the workplace. You know, there's been a lack of understanding about menopausal symptoms and how that can affect your work. So in your opinion, would you say there's a lot more education and more discussions about, you know, how to approach the menopause within the workplace, and especially with regards to men as well, because there will be men out there who may be watching this today who are having like partners who are going through the menopause and they've got very bad menopausal symptoms. So do you think there needs to be a lot more education for men and workplaces in order to be more sympathetic and more understanding towards women going through the menopause?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of I know Bury Council and us at Sixtown, we've got a menopause a policy in place. There is a policy in place. So, and we also did some managers training. I did some managers training with my mentor Adele, and you know, we had men on there and they really enjoyed it, because I think it was like a light bulb moment for some of them to actually see, and you know, the effects, and think, oh well, yeah, you know, my wife's going through that, my partner's going through that. So it is good to, you know, for them to actually see and pick up, and not be afraid as well, because you know, like I said, some women, they do kind of hide, and you know, they're quite fearful of it. But men, you know, if the men are understanding, then I think the women are more willing to open up and discuss it more as well. And I do think it is something that more and more workplaces are kind of pushing to have these policies and procedures in place and support women, because again, it's the highest suicide rate in women between the ages of 45 and 55. It's the highest rate of divorces with within, you know, partners. It's the highest rate of women leaving work, you know, within high-powered jobs. So it is key for them to have them, you know, them policies in place. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that today, Jane. And just to finish off everything you've said, which has been really good, but it just highlights, that we as women really, our bodies are a ticking clock. So, we've got to, you feel like as a woman, you've got to plan your life around, because we've only got a certain amount of time to do things. If you want to have children, you've only got a certain amount of time for that. And and I really do hope that this will help educate people more again, to be more open about discussing the menopause. That's it from me today, and thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Steph. Lovely meeting you.
Lovely to meet you too.
Take care.
Thanks very
Bye-bye.
much, Jane. Really appreciate you taking time on a Friday, and we will let you leave now. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for all
Take
the
care.
information. Bye.
Bye.